Now we're going to transition over to technology in the courtroom, which I think everybody on the call is just going to really love because we've got some really, really good information, both from practitioners and later in this part of the presentation from Judge Mulford and just real boots on the ground stuff. So we're going to start with Amy, and she is going to be talking about technology in a criminal trial.
Okay, so I'm going to start first with Zooms because it seems to be the new normal. And part of that is I've noticed just with other attorneys on Zooms, some don't have a mic that works, some cameras don't work, some are trying to do it from their iPhones. And I mean, that can just make things a little tricky, but you don't have to spend thousands of dollars. This is something that I've had a lot of attorneys ask me, what do I use? What's a good thing, that they can use? And for the most part in our office, we've spent about $129 on, a Logitech cam. We've spent $67 on a rolling cart, and the rolling cart has come to, it's been great for a lot of the attorneys because if a conference room's full, you can bring it into your office. We've gotten a new speaker that is able to connect in. We've had a couple attorneys to have to do a Zoom and oral argument. And, with that, they are very clear that they don't want you going in and out. They want to make sure that they can hear you. They want your video to be, very crisp. And so these are all, things that you can buy without, again, spending thousands of dollars. We got a screen from Best Buy. It's worked perfectly fine. We've been able to do hundreds of Zooms on it. But, another thing that I do say, and I do it too for a lot of the attorneys here, is test it out before you do it. If you're going to be doing a Zoom where you're going to be throwing up a bunch of documents, test it. See how your documents look. Make sure, they can read them. I was part of a motions hearing, and the judge, she did have, we did send her everything, but she couldn't get the video to play. So in the middle of the Zoom, she said, can you play his statement? And, I was able to plug my computer in and play the statement for her, and she was able to hear it. It worked out for us in the end because his statement got suppressed. But, it's timing like that. You'll have some judges that I've seen, they don't want to wait. They don't want to wait for you to try to figure out to get another computer or find your disk drive or try to play something. So I always recommend, have it ready, have another laptop ready that you can plug in. You never know. And same thing with Wi-Fi. I tend to have a lot of the attorneys hardwire in because you don't have to worry with the Wi-Fi as much. You have more of a steady connection, especially, when you're doing in-depth hearings. I think, trying to wire yourself in sometimes is just the easier way to go. So the couple programs that I use Adobe Pro, I use Trial Director, Google Maps, Lightshot, Camtasia, and PowerPoint. And I'm just going to talk briefly about Lightshot. It's a free program you can Google, and it's exactly what it says. You can screenshot anything on your screen. You can even comes up with a text box, so you can add text into it. This has worked great when I've had to do a couple Teams meetings with clients who are in jail. I'm able to show them documents, screenshot, write, put arrows or mark, where they remember, certain things happening. And, I love anything free. Google Maps, I use Google Maps a lot, especially when it comes to trial. It's a good visual for a jury to be able to see, what you're talking about and where things are. And then, so now I'm going to get into Cellbrite. So Cellbrite is, I've noticed in the last couple of years, really, in a way, booming with these cell phone downloads. And it's something to pay attention to in that you can really make some good exhibits from this. And, and it looks like it's a little hard to get used to, but it's very user-friendly. And, we've used it now in a couple trials where it's come down to where is the client at a specific moment. So when you get this phone dump, go in it. If you know certain dates that you're looking for, type it in the search bar. I mean, and again, once you do this, you'll be able to select what you want, export it, and it will bring it up as a clean PDF for you. And so I'm just going to give a quick example. This was a case that we had where we use this. And so this is, what it looks like. Some of you might be familiar. This is what, the phone dump will be. But, you can go through their web history. You can go through their location, the videos, pictures. And here, I just selected a couple of links. And from that, you're able to just go up to the top, hit export. I always do it as a PDF. it will save it onto your computer as a My Reports. And now you can bring this up in Adobe and you got a clean exhibit. This is nice when you are doing, certain text messages and you don't want the whole chain. You're only worried about a specific day. This makes it easier. Same thing with these texts. And it will take the full conversation. And there you go again. And again, this will do the same thing for your video. So if you have a video that you're doing, you can save it and it will bring a folder for you. It will bring the same PDF, but it will also save that video file in a folder. So it's also a good way when you're going through this to stay organized. The program kind of helps you stay organized by how you're extracting it out. This was one where we were looking to see where he was one day, and you can see from the location data, it gives you it pins exactly where he was in the mall, the store that he was looking in at that time. And depending on your case, that could make, that could be a big deal on where they are at a specific time. And, the same thing, I've done this in a couple cases where we get the location data, I put it into Google Maps, and it's pinned. We've had, a challenge before on whether or not it was accurate, and I've had the state's expert agree with my Google Maps, and we were able to get it in. So this is just showing that how it will create a file for you with all the images that you are now using. And there's that photo that you saw from the phone dump. So again, it's just an easy way. The location data on it is very accurate, and it just helps. Sometimes if you have nothing to work with, this is just a good thing to put on and give the jurors something to look at. Next, I'm going to get into Camtasia. So this is a program that I use to put a variety of videos together. So sometimes I do body cams, I'll do surveillance videos, witness statements, and put it together along with Google Maps. This was a case where this officer, he ended up being charged with second-degree assault, misconduct in office, reckless endangerment, and a false statement. And really what a lot of people were focusing on was this one news clip. And what I did is I took the surveillance videos that we were given, I took the Google Maps and the communications tape, and I put it all into one to really put the full story of what actually happened. And, in today's climate, take the time to really look at the body cams, to look at everything as a whole and give people more of a story than just a couple second clip.
Oh, 144, we got one running down 38, Paul, assaulted Paul 132. 38 square. Check with Paul 132, driver racing him. Paul 132. Paul 144, 38 square. Not active 38, it's Rhode Island, and if you're heading toward the district, it's a left, across the 38. 1 foot.
And so this is the pass that the officer was chasing this guy.
Paul 132 this jump. Yeah, I saw me around. Paul 132 this jump. Paul 132. 3.2, you're up. Paul 132 this jump. Paul 132. Check with 3 and 1, 3 and 2, 3 and 5, 3 and 8, 9, shift all y'all in route.
Hi, City 128. You said 38 to Rhode Island.
8 firm, 38 to Rhode Island.
You can show me en route.
Paul 132 this jump. We're out one stop myself at the food mart. 132 and I believe 145 are chasing him. Oh, just got shot fired. Shot fired on 38. Shot fired on 38. All you check out station 13. Time that's 141.
And big thing in this case was timing on whether or not they, called things in at the exact time. And I was able to kind of sync up when it's hit with the other officer calling it in.
Everybody go. Share one up. We're going to have everyone get another helicopter. Paul 142 on maybe area.
This is another case that I have used Camtasia for, and this is just a brief on kind of how I use Camtasia. So Camtasia is great to screen record. You can screen record all types of clips, or if you have a video file that you can't look at on a Mac, this is great to screen record to be able to save it as a normal MP4 file. So in this case, there was a variety of security footage, and it does catch the actual shooting, and that's what the prosecutors focus on, is just this 5 seconds. And what I did is I went back and I circled, and I was able to notice a car that kept coming around. I started to notice other people that were actually involved. And so what I did is I took those times, I screen recorded them, and put them then into this program Camtasia, which then gives you the ability to kind of manipulate it and put them together side by side. Sometimes, it makes it as a more clean exhibit than having to press the program, press play, find your spot. You can kind of get to where you want to go using this program. And so, here again, there's the shooting was a main thing, but also this car. The cars were very important. We had a witness who said that she only showed up at the very end, but I was able to show just by circling her car that she was there the whole time. She knew the individual, and that when the guy was shot, she ends up going in his pocket. So, you can crop it so you get rid of the actual video player. Then I bring up the other video. And once you do the screen records, they bring it all back into the program. So you have all your different screen records, and you can kind of put it together, the best way you see fit. And again, it saves it as an MP4, which is usually the best type of video file to use, especially in trial. You're not really going to have an issue if you're using that type of video file. And then this is what it looks like in the end. And again, sometimes this is just something good to give jurors something to look at, versus that couple minute break where you're trying to find it and you're trying to, or you go over a couple seconds. Like, this gives you a more clean exhibit. And again, this is just how we were able to show it. The next I'm going to get into is Trial Director. I love Trial Director. It is a little pricey, but I will say with our experience, we have yet to pay the full price on it. And I'll say that just in that they want you to buy it. So I've been able to just work out with them every year, a deal so we're not paying the full $800. But I will say it has worked out great in a variety of trials, not just criminal, but civil as well, especially if you have a lot of documents. This is clean to be able to put up on the board. We've had a couple cases where, you're looking at plans from, different developments, and there's really tiny writing. And what's great about this is I can throw this into Trial Director and be able to zoom, very crisp. And then that way the judge and everybody can see, what you're talking about. And so this is just how Trial Director works. You create your case. You can add all the different information you want, depending on the type of case it is. You can add other users if you want, so they have access to the case and they can drop files into it as well. So once you have it open, this is what it looks like. And so what you're able to do here is, like the last clip I showed, is you're able to drop in video clips. You're able to drop in all types of PDFs and really organize it the way you want. So you can create workbooks for specific witnesses, different clips that you want to show. And what's nice about this too is if you're playing a clip and you're worried about that extra couple seconds, if that extra couple seconds that plays is going to be an issue, if you don't want them hearing those couple, next couple words, what's nice about in Trial Director is you can, from a video clip, make a sub clip, and then that clip can be what you use to play in front of the jury. So you don't have to worry about those couple seconds, but you still have the full video, it just to show the whole clip. And so in this, with this case, the shooting and the way that the hands were important. And so what's good about this program is being able to zoom in. So once you create your workbook here, you drop it in. And so this is the screen that you see, but this is not the screen that the jury or the judge will see. And this is here where you're able to create your own sub clip. And then you can just name it, whatever you want for it. But again, this is just a nice way to take a whole video and just be able to shorten to just to the specific part that you want. And so this is what you will be doing on your screen. So you can play video clips through it, but they're not seeing you move the bar. They're not seeing any of this behind the scenes. And again, the feature to be able to zoom in is extremely helpful. Again, also in cases where you have a lot of documents and you can't see that fine, the fine print, it makes it a lot clearer and a lot smoother. And so this is just what it looks like if you're on the other side of it. So from what I had on my computer, this is all they will see. So this is, again, it's very clean. You don't have to worry about other things in the background. And you also have the ability, again, to zoom into specific areas that you want to focus on. And it's also great, too, because if they're talking, you can highlight as they're going, and you can also save it, too. And this will be the same thing for the video clip. A lot of times, especially in criminal cases, you want to keep them engaged. You want to give them something to look at. And that's one thing that I like about Trial Director is it helps you be able to keep them engaged. And you have everything in one area. So here was just important right there because that was the same car that said multiple times that she had nothing to do with it. And you see that car pull up right before the shooting and you see her loop back around right after. And it's good to be able, again, to highlight these things and really be able to zoom in. So that's my take on Trial Director. Again, all these programs, Camtasia is about $250, but it's a one-time thing. You buy it once and you have it forever. Trial Director is one that you do have to buy every year. It is a subscription. But, depending on what you do, sometimes, I think it's worth it. We've used it, like I said, in multiple cases. And again, when it comes to doing Zooms, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to make your Zoom crisp and, not annoy any of the judges you're working with.